I'm
Yeah,
here
so the
with
goal is,
I'm here with Dr. Claudia Coker, and she is outlining her new program coming up, and she was starting to tell me about these thriving transitions.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Right. And the goal is to be able to move from that caterpillar in a cocoon and really evolving and becoming the butterfly you're meant to be through these transitions and making sure that in that transition, you're learning the skills and the habit, the mindset, the building emotional agility and mental fitness to be able to go through. So once you learn these life skills, right, you can navigate through any form of transition there are that may face you in. And even the good ones and the not so good ones, you still have these life skills and habits and mindsets and disposition to be able to get there. So really learning about purpose and the why and really building your mental agility and emotional agility to be able to choose your state in going through these challenges or transitions or joyful moments. And it's like what I think about is, the scripture that says your yoke is easy and your burden is light. Because from a positive perspective, you might be growing a business and you have abundance in that space. But that's a transition in itself. How do I transition from becoming a solopreneur into a business owner, right? Because your business is growing and booming. And what are some life skills or some key principles or habits and hacks and rituals I need to put into my space, my life to ensure that I am thriving and I'm being successful. So, not just successful financially or successful showing results,
Right.
but being successful in your mental and well being, right?
Mm,
In your physical health, in your relationships, really going after the goals that got you started, keeping your why in front of you and being laser focused in your purpose. Um, so really learning, how do I keep that? How do I check in? How do I make sure I'm not burning out? How do I go from grace to grace, right? And not plateauing or self-sabotaging. So that's the essence of it.
right. I'm hearing equip. Is it women?
Mhm.
Equip women to step into their higher selves or step into their God-given purpose or step into their destiny or they're stepping into something because they're becoming these new wineskins because you're equipping them with these resources, these tools, not just for them, but also for you to expand what is it? Expand their territory, expand the kingdom, to expand to become these new wineskins. I love what I'm hearing. And I love
Mhm.
what you were saying before the recording about because we were talking about the caterpillar and you were saying the caterpillar might not get out, might not make it out. And I was thinking, I thought all caterpillars made it to become butterflies. And you brought it to my attention that some of them might get taken out a little early. So we don't want to get taken out too early by, as you say, self-sabotaging, as not allowing ourselves to be equipped and resourced to develop into these powerful people that God's created us to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as you say that, so think about just I like the picture you painted. So think about that female entrepreneur who is a high achiever, who's a leader, who is really acing it and is also a high performer. So they know how to get there. They know how to make it happen. But again, how do you go from grace to grace without burning out, without losing out, and
Yes.
keeping your life in some degree of integration, in harmony, right? Your health and well-being, your relationships, your business, really looking at all these pillars of your life and making sure you're not lopsided, but in
Mm,
harmony. There might be times in which, yes, one demands more than the other, but you're
right.
constantly keeping gauge, keeping an eye on the gauge, thinking about a cockpit, right? A pilot flying, he's constantly looking at all of the gauges at every given
Mm,
time and making sure they are where they need to be and one is not being ignored while others are being propelled. So That's the equipping. And in that understanding, so back to the pressure piece, understanding that life happens,
Right.
transition comes about. How do you continue to thrive and be successful and keep pushing forward when life happens? It could be sickness, it could be death in the family, it could be something else beyond, besides your business, calling your attention. How do you take a moment out and be intentional about addressing those life demands while thriving and giving yourself the space and grace to do it, and not feeling like my business needs me, but my family needs me, and you feel like you're sacrificing one over the other, but you're being highly intentional about integrating and taking time out with peace and grace and ease and flow, and going where your attention is needed and not feeling guilty. Because guess what? You've learned the skills, you've put measures in place, right? Where you don't have to be everywhere, you're not running helter skelter, right? And you are able to just be in the moment of where you need to be and where you're most needed.
And so how do you do that? Is there like a secret sauce? It's like,
Yes, come.
where's the recipe? Like you say, write it down. I need that cookbook. I need that recipe.
Yeah, write the vision down and make it plain. It may not be a one size fit all. It is not a one size fit all, but it is a customizer framework that anyone can pick up and apply to their specific situation, right? So, for example, we were saying before, our dear mentor is running 4 challenges in 1 month, right? And because his
Right.
life situation is different, he doesn't have young kids to take care of. He has businesses and he has partnerships and influences and team to support him. And for me, as a solopreneur and looking at my life and really putting my priorities into perspective, which has been something I've been learning in the past 8 months to a year, really being called, lack of a better term, called to the carpet by my I would say my God really called me to keep my eyes on the things that really matters, right? Really calling me back to purpose, really calling me back to what's in your hand and how are you stewarding it, right? It's great to have big goals and ambition. It's great to have a business. It's great to be blessed with the intelligence and the gifts of abundance, and just having the mindset to do more. But it's also even better when you prioritize and stay in alignment in the season of where God has you.
Right.
That's where the
Mm-hmm.
flow comes in, because the flow comes in and sticking to where you are, understanding that this season is for this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then that is for that, understanding where things are, being able to conceptualize things in a way in which you kind of compartmentalize them and know
Mm-hmm.
when to pull those levers. But it all starts with really understanding your purpose, really being crystallized on your why. And it evolves. It evolves. Like three
Right.
months ago, my purpose was different from today.
Right.
But I believe in seasonality. Like when we were in coaching, talk about what's sunsetting, what's flourishing, what needs my
Mm.
attention, right? So being able to
Mm-hmm.
use those tools to really assess yourself from month to month to month. Where am I really gauging, just even daily? But once you have a 12-week calendar, a 90-day plan, you have it laid out and you're laser focused on where you're going. You can pivot because you have things in place that allow you to pivot. So these are the tools you're learning to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I thought I'll be doing X, Y, and Z in 60 days, but guess what? I may need to reevaluate and kind of recalibrate a little bit so that, right, I
Right.
can prioritize, because life is calling for something different right now. But you still have your plan, right? You always have the opportunity to course correct. So that's the
Like that.
essence.
Like that. I like what
Hmm.
I'm hearing. So when does this start? When does your program start? Or is it an
Yes.
ongoing process?
It's definitely going to kick off in August, really introducing women to understand, just start introducing the pieces to get folks to start thinking about it differently, because it does take a mindset shift,
Mm-hmm.
and a habit transformation that's needed to really start thinking this way, to really looking at things this way. So definitely doing a workshop in August, trying to solidify a date, but introducing women to join the tribe, really joining the movement to say, yes, we can be Proverbs 31 wife in a unique way, right? In a unique way, we have tools and resources that we can
Mm-hmm.
leverage from a neuroscience perspective, from technology, and not burning out in the middle of it, not sacrificing your health in the middle of it, and living a joyful and fulfilled
Mm-hmm.
life, and being able to do what you're called to without the guilt, without the drama that follows. It's not a sacrifice game. So shifting
Right.
people from I have to sacrifice to get this, I have to, but learning how to thrive through all of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
the goal.
because yeah, often I feel as women, when we have families, when we have a spouse, and we have a business, there's this teeter-totter. You know, life happens, crisis happens here, crisis happens there, crisis happens here. I mean, and managing all of that when it's erupting at the same time, when one's crying out just as loud as the other. It's like,
Yeah,
ah.
right. And you don't, and I think I'm not, this is not a bash against our male counter, our partners. It's just that
Mhm.
the way we're designed, right? We're designed to be able to sit here and have this conversation and think about what we're going to cook for dinner, right? We're designed to do that, but also really using, like I said before, neuroscience to help us quiet those things, right? Because sometimes it works to our disadvantage, right?
Mhm.
When you really laser focus on deep work and what you're doing in the moment and being present, it does something for you as a person. It also minimizes the emotional ping pong and the mental ping pong, right? And learning that it's a different way to do it. The old way does not serve us. It runs
Mm.
us down. It makes us sacrifice. It makes us feel depleted, right? And so
Yeah,
now let's learn ease and flow. Let's learn how to transition from one activity to the next. Let's learn how to leverage support and assistance, right? Um, let's learn how to use the tools that are afforded to us so that your mental and emotional health is still intact. Your
yeah.
physical health is still intact, and you're guarding it. You are really guarding it. I tell people now my new mantra in my brain is you cannot afford my mental and emotional well-being. You cannot afford the bill, like to keep it where it is, so therefore you cannot afford to pay for it. It's very
Right,
expensive.
right, right. It's
Very
going to be
expensive.
expensive one way or another. You pay now
And
or
who's
you
going
pay
to
later.
pay?
Yeah, yeah,
Who's
yeah.
going to close out the bill? I close out the bill by depleting myself,
Ooh,
or right? Because and
yeah.
guess who suffers? The other areas of my life. If I'm
Yeah.
letting certain conversations, certain people, just from like an emotional drama perspective,
Hmm.
right? If I get myself caught up in that, or if I'm on social scrolling and wishing and looking and wanting, that's
Mm.
emotional drama. You're putting yourself through mental drama that is not incongruent with who you are and where you are in the
Right,
season.
right.
Right. So just learning how to feed your mind and your emotion and make sure you are in full congruent with what you want, what your purpose is, what is your why. And if those things, everything else around you don't serve it, then you let it go. Because the enemy uses distraction and
Mm.
disbelief to come against.
Mm.
And distraction can come in the form of seeing somebody else, back to our mentor, right? Doing 4 challenges in 1 month. And you're not gauging yourself like, well, I need to do 4 challenges. I'm not doing enough. Like, no, 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 no. Because the enemy is going to use that to push you forward so you can run yourself rugged and you're not fit to be a
Right.
workman in the field. So he's going to use distraction. Just in the concept of distraction, what role does distraction play in all of the things
Mm.
we talk about? But like I think you said something beautiful about, your weight loss journey had been specifically with letting the Holy Spirit teach you, right? Let's quieting listening, following through, and what you're being told so that he can teach you how to get to your goal. Because you knew what your why was, you knew the
Right.
purpose behind your why.
Right. Right.
And then you went to the ultimate strategist, who is the
Right.
Holy Spirit, to give you the
Right.
strategy to achieve the goal, which you have and continue to achieve. And you're checking in and you're tweaking and shifting just to get there. And your journey is just the beginning. I know it's going to be an
Right.
awesome road,
Right.
because not only are you going to do it to yourself, you're going to help your family, and you're also going to help those that are in your sphere of
Mm-hmm.
influence. So I think, one of the things the Holy Spirit showed me, he's like, okay, first to you. You
Mm.
learn it.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
Now extend it into your internal circle, because it breaks our heart when we see how loved ones are hurting too, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
have the
Yes.
solution, and they may or may not listen to you, but he's like, I need you to garden, to feel this field that you have to steward it differently. And once you've put your hand to the plow and you've worked that field, and see how the multitudes will come to get out of your overflow. They will drink from your system. So really being able to understand that, because guess what? I'm beat up and I'm tired and I'm depleted by work. I have nothing to give those who are waiting for me to feed them. And the first set is the field that's in my hand. And what's in my
Right.
hand is my family.
Right.
It's my first ministry after myself,
After yourself. Yes.
right? Learning, and that was a learning experience, right? Holy Spirit, first to self, take care of you, take care of your heart,
Mm-hmm.
get your mental health, emotional health, physical health, and everything in order. Now that you got it, teach your children, teach your loved ones.
That's key.
It's
That's
effortless. It
key.
just flows right out of you, because that's your ministry. Whatever you have is what you are giving them. So if you have stress, anxiety, depression, guess what? That's what comes out.
Exactly. 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 I
And you
think
were
that's
going to
so
say something
key.
that was
I was
key.
just going to say that's so key right there is ministering to yourself, filling yourself up. And that's not selfish. I used to think that was selfish. So the more I hear you say that, the more it's just confirming to me that I'm on the right path in terms of shoring this up with
Up your
the Father,
foundation.
shoring this up horizontally with the vertical,
Mm,
shoring this up because this can't work from a sense of empowerment with co-creation without the creator. And then I can't be able to expand that to my family, to my sphere of influence, to my business. Can't expand that if I'm all messed up. Look,
mm,
I'm going to hand them messed up stuff. And I don't want to do that.
exactly.
I don't want to do that.
Exactly. And that was one of the things that I had to learn. I would say, hearing you speak, this gave me some language around. I had to take a sabbatical from my business because I needed to learn it.
Mm,
I
yeah.
needed to learn that. I needed to learn, like, are you living what you're preaching?
Mm,
What are you pouring out? So when I am in full alignment with Him, when I am in grace, when I am in flow, everything else just flows right out. It's effortless.
yeah. You don't have to work for it. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
being and not doing. Because that was
Mm,
a season here, and I'm still going through that, understanding acceptance, fully accepted in being who I am
mm-hmm,
and being loved by my creator, like you were saying, over
mm-hmm,
performance, over being,
mm,
overdoing.
mm,
So when I lean into his unending love for me, because
mm,
he created me, one of my other mentors whom I love dearly, Graham Cook, he says, the one who knows me best, or who knows
mm,
me most, loves me best, or one who
mm,
knows me best loves me the most. He knows all of my proclivities. He knows all of it. Some of it I
right.
don't even know, but he knows it. my thoughts, my action, what am I going to do even before I do it? He
Right.
knows my end from my beginning. He knows it. And
Mm.
he loves me the most.
Mhm.
He accepts me and all of me, and he calls me his beloved. He looks
Mm.
in my eyes and he says, "You were perfectly made. You are
Mm.
my masterpiece. You just need to be. Just show up and be. And I'm delighted by you." Oh, that just acceptance. And I don't even think I've
Yeah.
scratched the surface on that understanding.
Yeah. I don't
So
think any
because,
of us
go
has.
ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I don't think any of us has. You know, we have that awareness, but it's nowhere near the depth of
Mm-hmm.
what he has for us and what he's going to show us. So yeah, I love that. I
Yeah,
gotta
and
listen
just
to some again too.
oh yeah, and I'll give you some resources. And it opens my heart to him, because the reason why I brought that, my relationship with my creator, right, channeling it back to that, to him, I now move and have my being in every other circumstances with that knowing. It minimized my performance with my kids. It minimized my performance in my other relationships. Okay, I'm not saying it quiets it up automatically. I'm trying to get there, but
Right.
it is
Right.
minimizing it
Right.
because I know he loves me. There's no
Right.
guilt, there's no shame.
Right.
So when I get it from my source, I don't need
Mm.
it from man. I don't need the approval. I don't need the validation. I don't need the acceptance. So then I'm not
Mm.
working for acceptance. I'm not
Right.
being slapped down by rejection, because none of that
Mm.
matters anymore. It takes away that. Then I just be with people.
Right.
I don't have to prove myself because he has accepted me. He's my audience of one.
Mm. And he
And I don't,
accepts us right where we are.
I,
We're not there, but he accepts us where we are.
yeah, because he's calling us up
Right.
to
Right.
becoming who he wants us to be. And he gives us the tools and the resources to get there. And he wants to
Mm.
be that to us. Like, Father, take my hand to the next level. It's like, sure, let's go.
I'm glad you asked.
Right. Sure. I didn't know I was waiting for you to get, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's he's a gentleman. He doesn't
Oh,
intrude. He
yeah.
doesn't push his way in. He just needs to be invited. Once he's invited,
Right.
okay.
Right. That three-letter word, ask. Yeah.
Ask and he shall receive. Knock and the door shall be open unto you. Seek and you shall find. There's so much he wants to show us. We just got to show up and ask and come like a little child.
Are you seeing some doors being opened that you have never seen before? Like doors of opportunity, doors of favor, doors of whatever. Are you seeing doors being opened in your life?
That's a good question. You know, I'm actually not seeing open doors. I'm seeing closed doors.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's for me, it's in the contrary. Because I'm used to open doors. So that's the learning.
Mm. Okay, then let me reverse the question.
Yeah.
What doors are you seeing closed that you've never seen before? You that are maybe unexpected. You would not have thought this door would have closed because this door seemed to be the door that you need to go through, but it's a door that's closed now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's closed per se.
Okay.
Sometimes it's ajar, but then, right, you can see through it, but he's like,
Oh,
not yet. not yet. And the fascinating part, and this is where the seasonality comes in, right? The purpose and
Mhm.
the timing and the why. I seen more closed doors, like I said to you before, because I'm used to open doors. I'm used to
Mm.
asking, you shall receive. I'm used to like favor, abundant
Right,
favor. I'm
right,
just so
right,
used to it. I'm
right.
spoiled by it.
Ooh, okay.
I've been so spoiled. I'll be the first to tell you, Daddy loves me so much and he spoils me rotten. But he also say, I chasten those whom I love.
Mm,
And this is not a chasing in a negative way, but this is an
right.
upgrade to say you're so used to this side of me, but I want to teach you something. Because when I teach you this and you master this skill in this experience, because the next season is going to call for it.
Mm,
And that's a degree of upgrade and maturity, right? And the upgrade and
mm-hmm.
maturity is I need you to be laser focused in this
Mm,
season. So open doors for me in what I'm really speaking about is, oh, I have these great business ideas. I'm just going to do it. I have this great
right,
business thing. I'm just going to run that challenge. I'm going to create that course. I'm going to
right.
create that coaching program. I know how to do it. I can just do it like this because it flows right out of me. And
Mm-hmm.
then he's like, the moment I want to do it, he's like, nope, not yet. I'm like, oh, but you gave me the idea. You showed. That's why it's ajar because I can see it, but I can't go through
Mm,
it. He's like, no, not yet. I'm like, but
not
why not?
yet.
So because there's something I want you to learn,
Mm,
something I want you to see, and I need you to be in the present moment to see and learn. And part of it is abiding. I need you to
mhm.
abide. If you start that coaching program, you're going to get distracted. If you start this, you can't quiet yourself long enough. If you do that, you're going to miss this. And like,
Mm,
it's like here where I have you, it's where I need you. I'm not saying no to that. I'm just saying it's a jar. You can see it. It's there. It's yours. But this moment,
not
your
now.
purpose right now is
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm, that's
That's
rich.
yeah, and that's why when you ask me for a date, I'm like, yeah, in August. Because and that's true
Oh,
transparency because I have set dates, I was ready to pull the trigger, and it's like, oh, you need a session. Oh, by the way, that date that I gave you wasn't for you to start the program, it's for you just to sit with me.
oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. That's powerful.
And it's again, it's upgrade, right? It's a different maturity level. It's a different chewing of the meat. The other day I said I'm chewing on some ribeye steak. I might be getting some bison because bison is rather chewy and
Yeah.
you gotta chew and chew to kind of like break it down. But that's where he has me, and I am grateful to realize that. And then the biggest thing is asking me, are you going to trust me? I just need you to settle your heart that I am a good father, which you already know, but
Right.
do not be moved by your physical insights and sights, but leading to your spiritual insights and revelation knowledge for where I'm taking you.
So how do you capture what you're learning in the process while you're waiting on the not now?
I'm having conversations like this, I'm writing it down. I keep,
I love these conversations, by the way.
well, thank you.
I think we need to do
And
more of these. Like we need to have like a little quarterly check-in
yeah, we
or
should. We
monthly
should.
check-in, something.
Yeah, I think
Some
it's more monthly checking, right? So in doing that, and he puts them all together. He draws them together, he puts it together, and I see his fingerprint in all of it. But it's more of the me part, right? What is it in me that the Lord is chiseling and building? And as he does it for me, I'm automatically handing it over. So to your point, like how do you
Mhm.
chronicle these experiences? It comes right out
Right,
of me. And I'm
right.
automatically handing it over to the front row seat of my life, which are my children, my family. They get it
Hmm. Right.
first serve.
Right.
And yeah, and then my ministry, then my sphere of influence, and so on. So it's been a unique couple of months.
Good. I'm so glad we came back together after a unique
I am as
couple of
well.
months to just chat and check in and see how each of us are doing in our own journeys, which brought us together through this 828. So I appreciate you, and I know we're on a time frame, so I want to honor your time. And if you want to say something else for the recording, if not, then we will close the recording. Do you want
Yes.
to add
So
something?
just the one thing is really being able to teach the three pillars. I call it wholeness. So you think
Hmm.
like a triangle in which wholeness is at the top. And on this side of the triangle, you really have your wealth. On this side of the triangle, you have your wellness. And at the top, you have wholeness. And what's running down through here from the top down is love. And what's coming from here to here is wisdom. So leveraging these channels to go back up to wholeness of who you are called to be. So that's the framework. and
Nice.
and the wealth part of it I shared is really connecting with what you offer, right? Like, how do you build wealth? How do you create wealth? How do you
Hmm.
protect the wealth? How do you create legacy around your wealth, right? And
Right.
transfer the wealth. And that's where I see the synergy with your 333 challenge, being able to come in and support you, and you in turn support me to show people
Right.
how to do this. And for me, it's to
Right.
say, yes, let's leverage wisdom from wealth to wholeness. How do we use wisdom to connect the dots? And even from here to wellness, how do we get from wealth to wellness, right? What are
Hmm.
some resources we need to do and use there to go back up to becoming whole? And how do we leverage grace and love and all of that? So that's the framework.
That's amazing. I'm
Yes,
excited
thank
for
you
what
so
he's,
much.
yeah, you're welcome. I'm excited for what he's going to do in our lives that we think we know in part, but he has the whole picture lined up if we just step into it. So thank you for being the vessel that he's created to develop these resources and tools for, I say especially women, for women to stand in who they are becoming. So thank you, Miss Dr. Claudia Coker.
Thank
You're
you, Miss Kathy.
welcome. All right,
God
we'll stop the
bless. Take
recording.
care. Okay, thanks.
You
Bye
too.
bye.